Hey, we're back. It's Beast That Thing on the BTTN, Beast That Thing Network. We've got a network of beast mode, beasting that thing. That's what we do over here at the BTTN, hence the name. It's going to be a Dynasty deity production. So it's going to be basically me and my personal leagues, my personal strategies, how I maneuvered my league settings, my startup drafts, handled in-season trades, roster management, roster construction, and ultimately went about dominating and beasting that thing in my personal leagues. I'll give league names. I'm not gonna give any, owner names. I'm not gonna put anyone on blast or make too much about other things public. But I'm just gonna go over, my strategy, how I did my thing, the actual leagues, just so you have a first-person perspective, I guess, into my mind and my way of doing things, and yeah, how to fucking win. Which hopefully all y'all are doing. Hopefully all y'all are doing good things, and y'all are handling it well, getting some money in your pocket. If not, maybe this helps. Give me a little bit of production, so bear with me. This is basically the league settings. This is the league scoring. They're not really supposed to be overlapping too much like this, so let's try to adjust this just a little bit. So league says it's a 12 team. It's start 9 basically. We do have a kicker and a defense, but that doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it matters because you got to roster it in this league, and they can win you or lose you a game, but not all leagues have that. I'm not going to go over kicker and defense just to stay on par with the community and stuff. Oh, excuse me. 6 teams make the playoff. It starts week 14. The championship week is 2 weeks. Trade deadline week 11. Yeah, there is a trade deadline in this one, which I'm kind of a fan of, honestly. I'm going to go either way. If it's like a completely random league, whereas like no one knows anyone or very few people know each other and there's like minimal collusion, I'm okay with no trade deadline. I'll get into that when I do my other league though, because I was in another league that didn't have a trade deadline and some motherfucker tried to buy a championship. Of course, it did backfire, so I mean, there's no guarantee anything happens either. But like I said, I'll get into that in my other league. We got 3 IR spots. Love IR. There's also 3 taxi. Yeah, it does say that right there on the roster. 3 taxi. And draft pick trade and all that. Scoring, it's just basically generic scoring. Nothing special. No big play bonus. No first down bonus. No point per carry. It's just regular PPR. And this is the first season. The first season we did not have a tight end premium. After the first season, we do add, I think, a half point premium. So it's like 1.5 for tight ends. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think we went 1.75. So yeah, that's basically the league before the draft. So now I had one trade before the draft. So we started in 2023. So you can see the 2023 first, 2023 second. So those are the startup picks. 2024 is the first rookie draft. So I knew the 2024 draft was going to be insane. Like, I felt like Marvin Harrison would have been the first wide receiver taken in the 2023 draft if he was eligible. I mean, he would have been taken ahead of JSN or QJ or Zay Flowers, any of those other wide receivers that were taken. I felt kind of the same way about Caleb Williams and Drake May. It would have been taken ahead of, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Brock Bowers would have been taken ahead of Kincaid, Sam Laporta. So going off of that mental kind of math or, that kind of assumption or opinion, I felt like 2024 draft picks were gold. I wanted as many as I could get. So I also did some mock drafts, and I saw some good QBs later on. So I was like, man, I'm going to fade QB. I mean, you don't know how the draft's going to fall, so I was going to read the draft. If I had to shoot early, I would. But Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield to some extent, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins. I was not worried about those guys starting for my team. Now I come from redraft, and I do that in redraft. Like I draft quarterback usually like round 10 or 11. I'll let a guy fall to me, or I'll roll with a rookie. Now in Dynasty, rookies get drafted higher because it's Dynasty, but in redraft, man, you can get a Jaden Daniels, a Caleb Williams, a CJ Stroud went undrafted. Bryce Young did too because of the Panthers. Really, I mean, Anthony Richardson, I think I drafted a little bit because of the Konami code thing, but you weren't even sure he was going to start day one, considering he had like no starts at Florida. So in redraft, I have a history of fading QB. Like I said, those are kind of like, can't really do rookies in Dynasty, but like I'm okay taking Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith too. I took Drew Tannehill a couple years ago. I took Tom Brady when he would fall in redraft on the Patriots and on the Buccaneers. So I roll with Justin Fields a little bit for the Konami code, and he would actually kind of fall a little bit because no one trusted him. I mean, that's how I do it. So I brought that to Dynasty too because I win a lot in redraft, and I wanted to kind of reconstruct the teams that I win with in redraft, just maybe do it a little different, get a little younger. In redraft, I also make a lot of waiver moves. I mean, half my team isn't who I drafted in redraft. I have a pretty good ability to adjust and be flexible and kind of project. After like a couple weeks, what happens early in the season, it's probably a trend that's going to continue. So, picking up Puka Nacua early in the season, or like identifying Sam Laporta early in the season. I can't think of all the. I mean, Stephon Diggs was one. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, was a little later in the year. He started to hit, and sometimes injuries and things like that happen. But in Dynasty, you can't exactly do that. But in Dynasty, what you can do is just take flyers on rookies that you think are going to be those dudes, especially with the Texie squad. So, and it's okay to draft the injured players too. I mean, draft an injured dude. Use your IR, especially if you're going to get good value on them. I think T.J. Hawkinson came into 2023 injured. No, he got injured in 2023. He came into 2024 injured. But there were some injured dudes I think I took flyers on in my draft or in free agency. I don't exactly remember. But we're going to go over the draft now. Well, I didn't go over this trade. This trade, essentially, I had 104. That was my startup pick. So I had 104, 209, 304. This dude had 105. He traded 105 for 109 and 304. Yeah. So he got an extra third, and he still got a first in that trade. I was like, I'll trade 104 for a similar trade. So the dude who actually traded 105 came at me to try to get back up there. I guess he was like, I can get two quarterbacks in a super flex, and I can beast it. So I was like I said, I wanted to do it like redraft. So I really wanted to knock out my flex position and my position players because I was fading QB, and I also wanted to bag a 24 first. And I also felt like with him giving me a second and a third, so now I'm picking back to back now because he was 105. So I ended up getting 208 and 305. So I'm going 208, 209 in the second, 304, 305 in the third. I got 4 picks and like 10 or 12 picks. So I was like, yeah, yes please, let's do that. Let's knock that out. And especially when I was mocking, I loved the pool of players that were available at that point. And then I got bagged my 24 first, which I felt pretty good about too, considering he was kind of. I didn't believe that his team was going to be. Either way, I got an extra 24 first. So I wasn't too much betting against him, but I really liked what I was doing. And it gave me the versatility that if I'd miss on this, well, I already got a good start of a rebuild. So I can go win now in a redraft kind of mode. I can really bag and kill some of the flex positions, but let's say they get injured, I get bad luck, whatever. I'm already set up to rebuild now. So I loved what I did there, and ultimately it really set the tone for how this Dynasty League goes for the next 2 years. So here's the draft. Just to let you see it all, let's get rid of the face cam and the overlay. So the dude who I traded with, he went Hurts, number 4, and then he went Justin Fields. It was 110. He had 110. He went Justin Fields at 110. And he went Kyle Pitts at 310, just to tell you what he did. but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks taken in the first round. This draft ultimately went exactly how I wanted it to. Exactly how I wanted. I mean, there was a hell of a pool of players available. When I saw this fell, I was like, yes, please. Um, so my first pick, I take Ty Hill. He's a little older, but he never gets hit. I felt like in a 2 to 3 year window, which in Dynasty you're supposed to look in 2 to 3 year windows. Supposedly, I did a lot of research. I did look up, some startup values and stuff, and how much the pick value, what the trade equivalent would be. I also looked up player trade sheets, so I kind of did my own mental math as far as like the pool players that were available with my 104 and with like the picks I'd be getting, and doing my own kind of trade analysis or valuations with that, my own little trade calculator, so to speak. And I would kind of just plug players into a trade calculator and see what that pulled. I like to crowdsource my decisions a little bit. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't have too much faith in any of those because, all of them would have told me probably not to trade. I got a good package, so yeah, they probably would have told me to make that trade. But they all would have thought that 104 was better than what I got, and I wouldn't. I didn't think that. I was like, I'm cool, not taking the quarterback available at 104. I didn't trust Mahomes. I didn't like his situation too much. Yeah, I wasn't sure who to take, and so felt a lot more confident about the flex positions, honestly. So I go Ty Hill first because in a 2 to 3 year window, I felt like, who's going to score more than him? I felt like he's top 5 for sure in 2 or 3 years, and he could play longer than that because he's fast. I don't think he's going to just get slow overnight. I kind of compared him a little bit to Steve Smith, who I think played really good up until 36 or something. And just his situation stuff. His situation wasn't going to change too much, although Tua did end up getting like some concussions and things like that. I believe that happened in 2023. I know it happened last year. So then I went Barkley. Barkley, I knew what he got franchise tags. I knew he was going to be a free agent again. I didn't think they were going to franchise tag him twice. They couldn't afford it. And I was like, he's going to get touches with the Giants. It's not going to be great. He'll probably be a top 10 running back. He's got a high floor with a high ceiling, I guess. He's in great shape. He has nagging injuries, a lot of like soft tissue injuries, but no major injuries really. I was fingers crossed that continued because his situation with the Giants was awful. He didn't get a lot of quality touches, but I was really looking forward to him, changing scenery in 2024, which ultimately ended up happening. Super fucking tight. Didn't know that was going to happen, but I did feel like he was capable of doing that in a different situation, and it's nice that paid off, and I was right about that. I knew running back was going to be difficult. Running back was hard because of Chubb and a lot of contract things, and running backs change. I did like Jonathan Taylor, but with Anthony Richardson and things like that, and he was actually in a contract dispute, I think, at the beginning of 2023. It was iffy on some of the running backs. But, 2 being drafted in the top 12, I was like, let's go Gibbs. He was fast. I liked the situation. He had the best offensive line. He had Jared Goff. He had Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. I really liked this situation. I felt like he was going to have a lot of opportunity. There wasn't going to be like a lot of 3 and outs. There was going to be a lot of offensive plays, a lot of red zone opportunities. And for someone who's a good receiver, which is always good for running backs in PPR, and explosive, I was like, man, let's roll with him. He's young. I think he was younger than Bijan. One of the youngest, I think, drafted that year. So I was like, yeah, I love everything about him. He'll hold value at the very least, and so if I do have to rebuild, I have him to kind of rebuild around as well, like Barkley does. Tears ACL or just get blown up, and basically loses all value in one play, almost like how Nick Chubb did. Then I got Gibbs and I can transition. I already got the 24 first. So after that, I love tight end, even if it's not tight end premium. I love tight end. Was looking at Pitts. Pitts got taken at 310, so I just went Hawkinson, highest paid tight end. He got that new contract. I liked his situation. He's basically the wide receiver 2 on that team, although they did draft Addison. But I wasn't completely sold on Addison. And yeah, I just liked Hawk. I drafted Hawk when he was a rookie in redraft to be my tight end. And I mean, I've had Hawk, I think, in redraft a lot of years. I've never been disappointed. I know a lot of people with the war and everything will show tight end doesn't matter, and I can't argue with their graph or math, but I do think it's a little skewed or taken out of context. Um, yeah, you can have tight ends that maybe are tight end 8 to 15, but a lot of times they're injured more or they're more volatile week to week. I think. I mean, it's nice to have a solid guy that's going to get 5 to 6 targets, that's actually in the offense, that's going to get red zone opportunities. In my opinion, it goes a long way. It's kind of a set it and forget it kind of guy. And if like Justin Jefferson gets injured or Addison gets injured or something else happens, maybe his opportunities go up, kind of like Cade Otton in 2024 after Godwin and when Evans was out. I mean, Otton was insane for 3 weeks. So you could even flex him maybe and start another tight end if you're actually kind of tight end heavy. So me personally, I'm a big fan of tight end. I mean, if it's tight end premium, I'm double a fan. But even outside of tight end premium, and I'm pretty good with tight ends, I guess. I don't know. I guess I have a certain tight end that I like. I kind of seen how certain tight ends throughout history, how they're used in certain situations, and I'm not gonna try to pat myself in the back too much because I'm not like a fucking prophet or some fucking super can't miss genius, but I do pretty good with tight end, honestly. I have a pretty good. Almost every team that I've won with has had a pretty solid tight end. I'm not streamlining tight end. I can stream any other shit. I can stream quarterback. Of course, it's single quarterback and redraft. But in a start 9, also, Superflex isn't that important to get a quarterback because it is 12 team, but I mean, what is it? Is that like 108 players? But 9 times 10 is 90, then plus 18. So you have like 108 starters. I mean, there's a lot of good flex players that are missed or available after the 108 spot, kind of. I mean, once you get to like 130, pool players being taken in the starting lineups, then yeah, quarterback becomes more needy for Superflex. And I'm not saying everyone cannot Superflex quarterback, but there's going to be a lot of misvaluations, a lot of people that miss stuff, and if you get the right rookies or second-year guys on your taxi, or spin them on Fab, or play the trends or projections early, or if you make the right moves on certain players and make the right bets, come late season, those bets can really fucking hit for you. So that in a start 9, start 8, I would not harbor too much on the quarterback position personally when it comes to Superflex. Now you can go start 11 and shit. That's a different story. But yeah, that's the draft. Well, let me go for. We got Kirk Cousins. We got Geno Smith for my quarterbacks in the 5th and 6th round back to back. Quarterback started to get eaten up a little bit. I did pass on Stroud for Hawk. With Hawk getting injured that year and Stroud looking like fucking top 3 or 4 asset in Dynasty, I kind of regretted that a little bit in the 4th round. Hindsight, he had a sophomore slump, so not a big deal, but Cousins did tear his ACL. I was really probably going to try to go Stroud if he was there at 504. I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't winning now, too. I go Jameson Williams in the 7th round because he was like my number 1 wide receiver. I skipped Higgins. Higgins was my 2nd pick I got from that trade in the 3rd round. On the back-to-back 3rd round, yeah. So I had Hill and Higgins, Barkley and Gibbs. So those are my, and it's a start 2 wide receiver. It's not a start 3 wide receiver. So, and then Hawkinson tight end. So I got all my starting flex positions out of the way. Boom. I feel like that was a strong base to really build this team. So then I could just knock out the fucking quarterback and flex, super flex, and then knock out one of my flexes with Jameson Williams in the 7th round. Which, like I said, he was like my number 1 wide receiver that year. I had him at Garrett Wilson, Olave, London. Yeah, he had that torn ACL. He didn't run, but you saw his explosiveness on the field. He's 6'2", probably a 40-inch vertical, so I felt like there was some contested catch opportunities down the road. He didn't really show it at Alabama, but I did feel like he could develop it, that it was there. And he just looked insane at Alabama. I was willing to take a bet on him, and he showed a little bit of it at the end of his rookie year when he started to get healthy. Now he was coming in, I think, with the suspension for gambling, so I got him with a little bit low value there. I could have maybe got him lower, but I was like, you know what, I want to knock him out because I saw Addison go. I saw just some of the other receivers who were kind of being mocked around the same range, like Burks too. And I was like, okay, Williams is about to get off the board. Let me pull. I was a little surprised Burks got taken ahead of Williams, honestly. And then I went Charbonnet, went with another young running back. That's a kind of decent strategy, is to go young at running back. Kenneth Walker had some injuries and shit, and Pete Carroll likes to run the ball, and I think some Walker's backups did good in Walker's first year, so I was like, let me go with Sharps. Then I went back to my win now thing, which is another thing I noticed was a lot of veterans like Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Tyler Lockett. Like there was a lot of guys who could produce. Immediately they were going, round 9 and 10. So I was like, yeah, I'm all about that. So I'm going young, making some bets, but then I'm going old too. So I'll go Keenan Allen in the 9th round. Then I get Mac Jones in the 10th round to maybe get a young guy that hopefully pops. And week 1 in 2023, he was QB1. I probably should have sold after that week because he went on to go and get benched. I go Sam Laporta. I loved the tight end class. You had Kincaid, you had Laporta, you had Musgrave, you had Kraft. You definitely had some dudes. And Kincaid got picked in the 7th round. I was really looking at Kincaid. Someone reached on Kincaid a little earlier than I would have. But the situation was good, and I was more than happy to take Laporta in the 11th. Went Chase Brown. He was a rookie running back, had a good combine. I liked the situation. I felt like Mixon wasn't the most efficient running back, and his time was going to be close to done. I was a year early on that, but I wasn't wrong. When Josh Downs, another guy, kind of but liked him. He was like a 5-star recruit, tested well. Came from, I think, from Duke, right? Or was it North Carolina? Came from one of those North Carolina schools in the ACC. I wanted to say North Carolina, but for whatever reason I'm thinking Duke. But I do think he was with Drake. Maybe. Shit, I can't remember. But yeah, he was pretty good in college. I liked what he did. Skip Carlson. Went Musgrave after that. So just to get another tight end out of this rookie class that maybe pops. I felt like there was a good tight end in this class, and so once again, just athletic freak. He was a little older. Didn't do a lot. I think he was at Oregon State, I believe. Transferred maybe there though. Had a lot of injuries in college, but tested very well. Had some good measurables that I liked, and I was like, we can take a flyer on him. Went Zach Evans, ex-5-star recruit. Never really got it going in college. Was hoping that he might turn into, I don't know, maybe like a Mixon or something. I don't know. If I remember correctly, Mixon had some issues in college, although he did transfer someone and get it going. But he went to like community college or something, I think. But yeah, he kind of ended up behind Judkins at one point. He goes to TCU. He ends up behind someone else, and he kind of was just in situations where there was also good running backs with NFL talent. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to quit on him. He was in the same recruiting class as Bijan. A lot of people had him ranked higher than Bijan. And then he had some weird situation where he signed with Georgia and didn't. I don't know. Anyways, I was like, I do that a lot. I follow recruiting. There's a weird formula that if 5-star recruits hit a lot, or high 4-star recruits, I mean, sometimes you're older, like you're held back a year, or you pop early, or it's just like competition. But in Texas, I mean, he was from Texas, and Texas competition is pretty good all the way around. I mean, if you're a good running back in Texas, if you're good in high school football in Texas, you're usually a pretty good college player. I mean, Ashton Genty from Texas, Shadur Sanders from Texas, Cam Ward from Texas. All three of those guys were like 3-star or 0-star recruits with minimal offers. Like, they had to go way away from Texas. Shadur Sanders had to basically get his dad to be a coach to get a starting gig somewhere. Like, Cam Ward went to Incarnate Ward or or something. Some school I didn't even know existed until him. So, yeah, there's so much talent in Texas that it just slides through the cracks. And if you're the top talent and you shine in Texas, I mean, it usually means something. I definitely look at that, but no, it's not just Tech. I mean, I look at that in general across the board. I mean, there's IMG over there in Florida. There's Milder Day in California. You got Buford up in Georgia. There's a lot of good schools and states that produce good talent. But if like consensus or all these like recruiting databases have you somewhere, and I read your profiles, do a lot of research on that. I check at all the Under Armour and Nike camps. I pay attention to like the Army All-American practices and the Under Armour practices, and I kind of track these dudes pretty early in their high school career. So like none of these dudes are really unknown commodities to me too. So there's a lot of that involved in it as well. Like I'm watching them all through college. I'm doing fucking draft boards. I'm doing top, freshman lists. I got a lot going on, and so I do have some predetermined or pre-existing kind of opinions a little bit, even though it is like fluid and there's variable change or whatever. But I also have a little bit more context to their situations and maybe what was going on and what might have happened due to a lack of exposure or production in college or whatever. Oh, excuse me. You got the burps, man. There's a lot to talk about in Mike Evans, but it does kind of help explain my process in general. Also, where I'm coming from on some of this. Bonnie Kondo ran a fast 40, was the youngest player in the NFL that season. Breece Hall had some injury issues. I like the way they used Breece Hall. He's kind of capable of being used the same way. He was a pretty good receiver and everything, and could be a 3-down back. He ran a 4.3 at like 220 and shit. So I was like, yeah, give me some of that. Donovan Peoples-Jones, whatever, just thinking he could hit. Puka Nacua, he's really good at BYU. I liked his combine, liked his situation. There really was no one there after Cup. Had no idea he was going to pop like that, I'm going to be honest, but I drafted in the 19th round. Obviously, I felt some kind of way about him. He was someone I was definitely targeting. He was on my fucking queue. Justin Ross, another one. This is kind of one where it fits what I was talking about with Zach Evans. I mean, 5-star recruit, insane freshman. If he could have went pro after his freshman year, he might have been the number one wide receiver taken. Wasn't quite Jeremiah Smith level, but this motherfucker went ham his freshman year. And him and Jamar Chase, I think, were in the same recruiting class, and I had him ahead of Jamar Chase after their freshman year. He went on to have back issues and stuff, had to have surgery. His career was almost over. I was, just taking a flyer on him and being on the Chiefs and everything, where they were kind of desperate for a number one option. I was like, that's a good situation. I'll roll with that. Tyquan Horton, kind of the same thing as Justin Ross. It was a situation. A little bit the same, not exact same. But yeah, he ran a 4.240. Was a second round pick. Kind of fucking sucked. I think he was in year 2. He had just finished his rookie year in this draft. So, I was like, I'll roll with that. And then I went Pierre Strong, kind of the same thing. All right, so that's our rookie draft or start draft. All right, let's pull this back up. Get my face back on there. So that's what I started the year with. So here's some moves that I did. I already mentioned I wanted some 2024 picks. So here I am. I'm trading for picks. This is a Puka Nacua trade that I did. So September 18th, we'll start with the one on the left. September 18th, this is like week 3. I mean, week 1 is late August, early September. So this is early in the fucking year. I already kind of targeted teams that had rosters that I didn't like, that I didn't think could compete, teams that I felt like just were in no man's land, kind of. Not to be too rude or honest, but I mean, clearly I saw something that I liked to make this trade September 18th. On the switch side, it's also confidence in my team. Ty Hill started off game busters. Puka Nacua is going ape shit. I'm like, okay, we're fucking competing. Like, we are good. Jahmyr Gibbs is not having the best role, but I knew that even in his role, which I felt like would increase, he's still got a high floor. He's getting like 9 points, 10 points a game, and he was getting minimal touches. Montgomery's dominating that shit, but like he's doing the most of his touches, and he was like an injury away, or usually as the season goes on, they get more. Rookie running backs don't always do good. In all honesty, because of pass protection. I mean, when you're in there, it's pretty obvious you're running the ball. Uh, because usually if you're running a route, there's a blitz read first. It's a delayed route. It's kind of you kind of leaking out as like an outlet or an escape. And, if no one's open, if the play, exists for too long, or if there's like no blitz. But initially, there's like a blitz pickup. There's a blocking read, and rookies really suck at that early on with the complex blitz schemes and protection schemes that NFL teams have. So when you're on the field, defenses kind of know that you're getting the ball. So it kind of kills, there's no element of surprise there. That's why you kind of saw Brandon Allen. You saw with Jalen Wright a little bit. You saw with all the rookies really. That's why a lot of the rookies didn't do shit. You kind of saw it even last year with Chase Brown, with Bigsby, with some of the other second-year guys who really didn't do much their rookie year. Kendre Miller, even Zach Charbonnet a little bit, who pretty much only got in when Walker was injured his rookie year. That's why so many running backs typically have year two, breakouts. Bucky Irving was an exception, obviously, and there is like Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall. Breece Hall was well on his way to winning Rookie of the Year before he tore his ACL, and then it went to his teammate Garrett Wilson. Jonathan Taylor, I think he kind of started really going hard later on in the year, and that maybe comes from getting more experience, getting better at that. Anywho, this dude, it's like week 3. And that's another thing. I wanted to see who started 0-2. Who had a bad team and who started 0-2. Because some can have bad luck. I'm not just targeting 0-2 teams. I'm looking at the roster too. So, I traded my 2025 first, 2025 second, and 2026 first. So 2 firsts and a second for his first in 2024. Now, that's also because of the draft. I wasn't super confident in the 2025 draft. And people will say it's deep. It's deeper than I expected. I thought Travion Henderson would have went in 2024. I thought maybe Quinn Ewers and Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. But, ultimately you got all the quarterbacks you wanted. I didn't know that Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and Jaden Daniels were going to go so hard. That those transfers and upperclassmen and, COVID year, graduate seniors were going to, be so prominent and coveted. But, damn, let me drink some water. But ultimately, they ended up getting the quarterbacks you wanted anyways. It ended up being a deep quarterback class. And they ended up not really being coveted in 2025 anyways. Other than running back, which I liked. I didn't know it was going to be this strong either. Because David Martinez, Rocket Sanders, I think Taj Brooks, a lot of the running backs in this class could have went last year also, and I kind of thought that would happen. But I guess because of the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, they didn't do it. But anyways, I made this trade. Then a month later, I traded Puka Nacua for another 2024 first. So at this point now, I have 4 24 firsts. And I started seeing a lot more college football, and I started seeing how deep it was with Troy Franklin, with Xavier Worthy, with A.D. Mitchell, Jermaine Burton, Jalen Milroe I thought would have went pro too. So I was really liking Jalen Milroe. Love Konami Code and mobile quarterbacks. There was a lot that I was really liking. So I was like, man, this draft's gonna be deep as fuck in the 3rd round too. Like I need some seconds and thirds. And I was really trying hard to get some seconds at this point. I still had my second, right? I would trade my second. Let me see something. Did I trade my second in the startup trade? No, I traded my 3rd in the startup trade. Wait, that ain't it. Yeah. Okay, I traded my 3rd. Alright, anywho, I mean, Puka was going gangbusters. He had like the best start to anyone's beginning. So I was like, he very well might be at a ceiling. I was shopping around a lot. I was seeing if anyone was going to give me 2 firsts, or I really wanted 2 firsts. There wasn't a lot of teams that had 2. There was some other people kind of going for 24 firsts this time. At one point, me and another dude had all of them, except for maybe 1. I don't know. It was crazy. He ended up with like 6, and I had 4. I think he ended up getting 7. It was really annoying. But and yeah, he owned his own, so he was tanking. He ended up being 102. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I really I wanted as many as I could get, and I was like, so I was shopping Puka, and no one was really biting. No one was giving me really what I wanted. And ultimately, this was the best offer I got. It's funny when I traded him, everyone's like, "Oh, you traded Puka for that?" It's like, yeah, motherfuckers, y'all had a chance. Like, it's funny now that y'all are like, "Oh, that's a bad trade. He's worth so much more." But y'all were fucking trying to hoe me and shit. Anyway, yeah, beware of your league mates doing that. Just take the best offer that's available. No one's gonna want to pay too much. No one's gonna give you exactly what you want. And I think because I was like really killing it, they were nervous. I don't know, but I was also trading away, one of my top assets. But yeah, I had just a lot of issues with the situation too. I mean, Matthew Stafford was old, and I felt like he might retire. I mean, this year in the offseason, you were hearing about him possibly being traded. You hear about McVay possibly retiring. So I was like, his situation could change very quickly overnight. And then when I was projecting him to like the receivers coming in, I mean, there was Marvin Harrison, there was Malik Neighbors, there was Buka, there was Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey. Keon Coleman was looking really cool back then. I mean, he had an insane highlight reel and started the season game busters, I think against LSU. There was a lot of fucking receivers that I was like, man, I would be okay re-rolling on any one of them, depending on their situation and stuff, that I would take over him. And I was like, with me having 4 picks, I don't necessarily have to go receiver here. I could go Marvin Harrison with the dude that I traded, the one to the left, because he ended up being 101 actually. That's what I was going for. I was looking for 101. I got 101 in that trade right there. And I was like, I could do that there. I wanted more picks. I liked a lot of things, and there was like a number of guys in this draft that I would have taken over Puka Nacua if I had the chance to reroll. So I was like, let's just sell high. Maybe I didn't sell as high as I could have. In hindsight, he did do a good year too, and he kind of got injured, but and he does. He plays physical. He takes a lot of hits. It's the NFL. I think he lowers his head and fights for yards a little more than he needs to. And he had some injuries in college. He has some injury history, so I was a little cautious of that too. But ultimately, it was just kind of just seeing what was probably going to be available and where I ranked him compared to them. All right. So now we're getting close to playoffs, and I'm trying to compete. And Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles, and T. Higgins has not played basically all year. But so here's my basically competing trades that I do right before playoff time. First one I do is I add a running back, because running back I was volatile. Charbonnet and Brown weren't really in there like I want them to be. Evans and Bonaconda I think were on my taxi. I was hurting at running back, I guess, and if Gibbs or Barkley got hurt, I basically didn't have a starting running back that I felt confident in. So I went Mostert. I paid a lot for Mostert here. He did start for me some. He played for me some. He saved me in some games. But ultimately, I didn't win the chip. And there might have been some better moves I could have done. But I thought, first of all, he was going game buster that year. He was like running back 4 or 5. I don't know. He's killing it. And I figured he'd have a similar role in 2024. And he very well might have if he didn't get injured and start the year injured. But, he did, and it is what it is. By the way, the Mostert one's at the bottom. I didn't do these in order, apparently. The second one I did was the 9th. This one's me moving off of another young player who was kind of hit and miss, doing pretty good. But I needed more production. So I went for someone that I also thought would still have similar production the following year, in Mike Evans. Yeah. Trying to get this gas, these burps out. Yeah. And then I want another 2024 pick. So I got another 24 third. Since I just traded one the round before, I really didn't want to lose that. So I saw an opportunity to swap thirds from the 2025 class to a more recent and stronger class. And then I also got a more win now player, but ultimately he did better in year 2 or in 2024 than Downs also, and looks to probably do better in 2025 than Downs. So big fan of that trade. I wanted Evans in the startup draft, honestly. Was really glad to get that trade done. This one hurt a little bit. I did like Fields. I knew his situation was murky, but he was doing pretty good with Pittsburgh. I was hoping the Panthers might win some games and that pick wouldn't be number 1 overall because the Panthers didn't have that pick, so there's no incentive to tank. They were just really that bad. And the Bears weren't that bad. I mean, Fields on the field was pretty good. He was injured a little bit. Anyways, they didn't end up not keeping Fields. But yeah, Higgins I really liked. He didn't do what I expected him to, but I still liked him. Thought the situation might change, but ultimately I had to pull the trigger on this just because Mac Jones was benched at this point in time. And Geno Smith, I think he got injured or was going through a rough patch. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, I just wanted some depth because at this point I was basically down to one quarterback. And if Geno got injured, I had no one starting. No. I can fade QB at the Superflex, but I mean you can't fade it at the QB position. I mean you have to start one. So yeah, pulled this move on Fields, Konami code guy. Really liked Fields. I'd have been okay drafting him. Mind you, this dude went 109 in the startup draft. So ultimately, I got good value in that sense. But considering he didn't start a lot in 2024, I don't know. But he's with the Jets now, so hopefully he starts and goes hard 2025. Maybe it's going to pay itself off down the road. So those were my win now trades in this 2023 season. Right before playoff time, as you see, November 9th, November 17th, November 3rd. This is how the season ended. Finished 10-3, the number 2 seed. Most points for, though. I guess 27 points, roughly, over the 12-1 guy. By the way, this 12-1 guy, his only loss, I think, was to the guy that went 1-12. That's kind of crazy. And that's the guy whose first I took. The dude right here who had the 11th or second worst team, he was the guy that had the second overall pick and ended up with like 7 first. He actually had a really strong team and just decided to blow it up and tank halfway through, and well, he did a good job. The third place team is the guy that I did the pre-startup trade with, the third worst team down there. So that pick in 2024 ended up being 103. And I ended up being the number 2 seed with the most points for, and he ended up being 10th seed and didn't even have his 24 first round draft pick. So, like I said, that trade kind of set the tone for what you saw. Killed that trade. This is the playoffs and a first round bye, which is good because I didn't score a lot of points. Wouldn't have beat either one of the teams that I would have played. I think there was week 14 had some bye weeks, and I had some dudes on bye actually in week 14. I also probably didn't fuck with my starting lineup. I don't know. Either way, beat him in week 15. I was nervous after seeing him go 177, but I also knew my team was going to be strong in week 15, and his team would probably be weaker. He had tougher matchups in week 15. But you never know. I mean, especially in a one game. The dude up top with the little green frog face, 194 in week 14, 170 in week 15, and then, yeah, he ended up winning the chip. His team just got super fucking hot. And I believe he was the 5th seed at 8-5. Had the lowest points for out of all the playoff teams. So, his team really showed the fuck up in the playoffs. This championship was 2 weeks, like I said. Week 16, week 17. Week 16, he had Amari Cooper, who went for 51 points. I played Amari Cooper in 3 fucking leagues that week. That cost me a lot of fucking money. Fuck Amari. I couldn't believe that all 3 of those teams had Amari Cooper and started him even. Because he wasn't doing great that year. He wasn't like a hands-down starter that year. He did it against the Texans, I believe, who had a pretty good defense. Like, oh, it's so fucking disappointing. This is a winner take all. So, I got nothing. Except the strong team who is likely to possibly run it back. Anyway, so, oh shit. Let's get rid of this. This is a longer video than I want it to be. I went too hard. Well, most of the action was 2023. 2024 is kind of going to fly by. This is my end of season roster. Like, before our trades are open or any maneuvers, this is how I ended it. So, just so you can see all the, like, fab or waiver wire, like, I have Sevillas I picked up, DeMarcado, Jaleel McLaughlin, Demario Douglas. I ended up getting Wando. I guess the dude dropped Wando Robinson because I didn't trade for him. And Musgrave, Abanikana, and Evans on the taxi. Got Hawkinson IR. I feel like we only had one. I guess it showed 3 IR. So I guess we did have 3 IR at that point. I don't know. Either way, I only had 1 there, but I was using it all throughout the year. Anytime someone's questionable or out for a game, I'll put them on IR and pick someone else up. I never have an open roster spot. Even if I'm going to drop that dude a week later, that's fine. I'll drop the dude a week later. But either way, I'm going to hold on to him. That's how Jaleel McLaughlin was at one point, and he went kind of hard that week. So I just ended up holding him. And I think I ended up getting a 3rd for him down the road. All right, I ended up putting him in a trade somehow, some way. Wando Robinson was that one week. Al Sevillas was that 1 week. Romero Douglas was, that 1 week. Anytime, like, Keenan Allen missed some weeks. Evans maybe. I mean, anyone that was questionable and ended up being out. Second they're out, I boom to IR, pick someone else up. There's no open roster spots. I don't care if I'm going to drop them, whatever. It's just more efficient. I mean, if they pop, yeah, you might have to make a move the next week if that dude's ready to play and you have to clear a roster spot. But, I mean, if that dude looks good, you can just bag a 3rd. Because instead of him going through waivers, someone might want to be like, hey, I want that dude. I don't want to have to compete with other people. I don't want to have to spend fab. I don't have the most fab. I don't have, waiver priority or waiver position. So, yeah, I always do stuff like that. I recommend doing stuff like that. In my opinion, it'll pay off in the long run. Another reason why I'm okay drafting IR people. All right, so this shows my picks. At the end of the season, I had 4 2024 picks, 101, 103, 109, and 111. The startup draft pick was 103. The one in like September 17th when I gave away 2 firsts and a second, that ended up being 101. I mean, hindsight, that was a pretty good trade. It looked kind of crazy and it was ambitious, but I mean, it was a risky bet, I guess, but it was good. And by giving him those 2 firsts and a second, I gave him more draft capital to where he could have maybe made his team better, but ultimately how I was playing, no one was really in a hurry to go get, my draft picks. And so ultimately they really just didn't have a lot of value at all the second I drafted him, so he wasn't able to really help himself too much with those. But yeah, so that's so before the draft, I think this is before free agency too. I trade 101. I also trade Tyreek Hill. So I had 2 trades before the draft, and 1 before free agency, 1 after free agency. So I trade 101, Jaleel McLaughlin, Demario Douglas for Jared Goff, Drake London, and a 24 second that ended up being 209. So this is a deep draft. First of all, let's talk about 101. 101, I was torn between a quarterback and a wide receiver. I really didn't like Caleb Williams. Be honest with you, Caleb Williams is like my quarterback 4. I liked Drake May better. I like Jaden Daniels better. Um, I liked Michael Penix better. God, Michael Penix looks so good against UT. He was throwing fucking darts. And honestly, after that game, I was like, this motherfucker's good, dog. And then he goes off and he runs like a 4.5, which I knew he's mobile at Indiana. I saw him at Indiana. Like I said, I follow these dudes. Hell, I didn't know him in high school. I didn't really follow him in high school. But like his redshirt freshman year or true freshman year, that 2020 season when he led them to like an 8-1 record or something, because they canceled and then brought it back, so they only played conference games. Uh, maybe it was 6-1, 5. I don't know. Anyways, he went ham, but he had some injuries. He transfers to Washington, and he didn't lose to Oregon. He won all his big games, except for the national championship, obviously against Michigan. But he fucking killed UT, and he was throwing fucking darts. I really don't like left-handed quarterbacks. Sometimes older guys I'm a little iffy on, but like him at Indiana, he was high on my quarterback list while he was at Indiana before he got injured, before he transferred. And I did kind of write him off, but it was more kind of like a wait and see. Similar to Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix as a true freshman looked all right at Auburn. He was like a 5-star, a high 4-star. He had some things I liked, pretty mobile. Like I was kind of high on Bo Nix, kind of high on Jackson Dart. Actually, I thought Jackson Dart would enter the 24 draft too, kind of. So that's a lot to talk about that has nothing to do with this fucking trade. But yeah, ultimately, I really don't want to take Caleb Williams 101. But I needed a quarterback. With Fields, everyone was talking about they're going to go Caleb, so I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen with Fields. He hadn't been traded yet, I don't think. Yeah, because he wasn't a free agent, right? They traded him, I think, to the Steelers. Yeah, anyways, I was like, yeah. I got just Geno Smith, and I was like, Geno Smith could be replaced too. So, yeah, I was like, let me get a wide receiver and a quarterback, and I felt like Drake London's was at his floor. Like, I felt like he could only go up. I mean, Desmond Ridder wasn't going to keep being his quarterback. They had to make a move. I didn't know they were going to get Kirk Cousins, but either way, I knew his fucking situation was going to improve significantly. And I liked his talent. I always kind of liked him. I mean, I said James Williams was my number 1 wide receiver, but I think London was my number 2. To be honest with you, I wasn't super high coming out of college. I didn't know what to make of the Pac-12, and he had a hurt ankle, so he didn't really run. There wasn't like a lot of GPS mile per hour data on him, so there was no 40 speed. He had good hands. He caught the ball with his hands. He attacked the ball. He ran good routes. He looked pretty quick. But yeah, I didn't know a lot. After watching a couple of his games and seeing him, his fluidness, he was good. I felt like he was Mike Evans-esque or ish. Like the only thing really holding him back was his situation. I felt like he had fucking tons of talent. So shortly into his rookie year or something, I was kind of really high on London. It was just, I wanted to wait for a buy low opportunity, or I wanted to get in when I felt like he was going to start producing, because he wasn't going to produce in that offense with those quarterbacks in year 1 or 2. And I don't know, they got a new head coach, I think, or something. I just knew his situation was going to improve, and I was like, yeah, let me get some of that London. And I felt like that was a buy low. Now, a lot of people had me losing this trade, or thought this was a dumb trade. A lot of people wouldn't have done this trade. People hated Goff. I didn't understand that. And Ben Johnson was staying, so I had Ben Johnson for another year because he had the coach carousel had already ended at this point. And Jameson Williams was going to come back, and you had Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta was tight end 1 after his rookie year, so I was like, Gibbs was looking good and a great receiver. And I think he finished like QB 5 or 10 or something. I was like, man, it's only going to improve. He's only going to get better. I don't understand the community's hate with Jared Goff. He's like 30 years old. He's like the same age as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is 29. He's like a year older, maybe a year and a half older. In a better situation, producing more. Like, why is Patrick Mahomes number 1 in Dynasty and Goff isn't? I got Goff in like the 4th or 5th round. Patrick Mahomes going number 1 overall in a startup. Like, Goff outscored Patrick Mahomes. If you had Patrick Mahomes on your team as the starting quarterback in 2024 or 2023 or 2024, you probably didn't win shit. So congratulations. Yeah, that's why I was at on fake QB. That's why I was at on this trade. And, I got another pick in return. I got a second round pick. Like I said, I felt like this draft was deep. I wanted some second round picks. I was like, man, there's a chance I could get someone at 209 that ends up being better than the person this dude drafts at 101. And I was kind of off on McLaughlin and Douglas at that point in time. I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I got all these draft picks. I'm about to replace both of them when I draft these picks. So, I don't need them. The second draft over here, I make the 28th, and London's involved in this trade. I didn't really want to trade London, but when that 2-week span, London went up to like wide receiver 12 on KTC or something. And after they get Kirk Cousins and all this other shit, London's value just skyrocketed. And after what I saw with Tua and I was shopping Hill around. I wasn't giving Hill away. I wasn't really trying to sell Hill. I was a little nervous too, but at the same time, I wanted more 2024 picks. And I had no 25 first, so I was like, man, if I can get some more picks, ultimately I'll do this. The dude who had 7 first or whatever is who I traded with on this trade. And he ultimately, I guess, decided he wanted to use those picks to buy a winning roster instead of draft one. He really, I guess, wasn't high on the 2024 draft, or he was going to use all that hoopla or, hype to cash in. He ultimately probably made better trades than this. But Ty Hill is a hammer. I mean, he had like the highest average per game. But yeah, I think this dude ended up getting CeeDee Lamb and other people before this trade. And he got CeeDee Lamb for cheaper than this. I think he ended up getting Breece Hall. I mean, he really started just building a roster with those picks, which is something you can do. If he made a video, he could go over that. And yeah, he didn't end up winning or... he ended up getting a first-round bye, though. I think he ended up finished second in the league in 2024. He makes a lot of moves, though. He constantly trades. I don't, really. The only thing, I trade with, like, a purpose. I like to know what I'm going for, and I knew I wanted 2024 picks. So I was okay moving Puka. I was okay moving my picks for a pick. I was okay moving 101 for some win now with Jared Goff and Drake London because I needed a receiver after trading Higgins and stuff, and Keenan Allen's situation being iffy, and I knew I had some things I needed to work on. And Ty Hill, I wanted to sell high on his hype in that season, and I was okay with him dying on my roster, but if he didn't have to die on my roster, I was like, let's just see. And yeah, this deal is pretty fucking great. I was absolutely okay with this deal. I had been sending him offers a lot of times because he had all the 2024 picks. I knew I wanted 224 first for him. He was the only one that could do it. And I didn't want to give him away. I wanted pretty high ones. And 101, 102, 103, 104, I wasn't getting those for him. So, yeah, I got this. And with London's increase in value in like a 2.5 week span, it was like, yeah, this is available. So I ended up getting 105, 107, and a 25 first, or 225 first. The top 25 first is the guy that was 101 in this 2024 draft. So, and the other guy I think was 104 in the 2024 draft. So these are two non-playoff teams in 2023 who project to be probably non-playoff picks in 2024. Neither one of their rosters looked strong going forward. It ended up being 102 in the 25 draft and 106 in the 2025 draft. So just to let you know. That's a lot that I went over on that. So, but that
All right.
He had some technical difficulties, so I'm gonna start in midstream. I had to move on, but yeah, we're right here at this rookie draft after that Tyreek Hill, Drake London trade, where I got 101, 103, 105, 107, 109, and 111. Actually, I traded 101, so I got 103, 105. Basically, all the odd numbers. I'm picking every other pick except for 101. I got all the odd numbers in the first round. So, Kelly Wayne, Mark Harrison go 1 and 2 as expected. I got Jaden Daniels at 1 and 3. If I kept 101 and 103, I really wanted to go Marvin Harrison, league neighbors. But no, I think I was going Marvin Harrison, Jaden Daniels. Yeah, Jaden Daniels pretty much 103 the whole time. And even though I traded 101 for Jared Goff, Justin Fields situation, I wasn't sure about. And I kept saying Russell Wilson's the starter. Our draft was actually in August. So I had like a lot of time to like evaluate stuff. Like we had basically all the preseason. It was like late August. It was almost where a redraft draft would take place. So it's not most dynasty leagues I don't think are like that. I think they draft closer to the NFL draft or shortly after the NFL draft. I don't recommend doing your dynasty league before the NFL draft, but if you really want to have some fun and just fuck around, you can, I guess. But to be serious and competitive and, you know, decent stakes, yeah, I don't completely recommend that. I probably wouldn't do it. That's just me. But drafting in August is a long fucking time too. Like you have so much many. Some rookies are getting injured, some getting in trouble, some you're finding out they they're not playing preseason or where they're at on the depth chart based off preseason. And Marshawn Lloyd getting injured and stuff. Marshawn Lloyd probably dropped, whereas if we drafted closer to the NFL draft, Marshawn Lloyd might have went higher. There was just a lot of shit that it changes. But I go Jay Nails at 103. I go Broad Bowers at 105, which I probably maybe don't do if it's closer to me also. But no, we're tight end premium now. We added a half tight end premium at this point, so Hawkinson's on IR. So basically just got Laporta and Bowers is just an insane prospect, and he went to the Raiders, and he's basically the only option there. Now, at Hines, I mean, at first glance, it could look like a horrible situation because of QB, but I feel like a tight end is actually a bad QB's best friend. Bad QBs typically drop down or, check down a lot more to the running backs than tight ends. They don't throw the ball downfield. They're scared to challenge, number one cornerbacks. They're scared to challenge, deep zones or safeties. They're not really good at reading or seeing the field. So they're more likely to go to like a linebacker tight end mismatch or a safety tight end mismatch. And something that's more man-to-man or right in front of their eyes, which a tight end typically is running shorter routes. And when it comes to the red zone, you typically go to the tight end a lot more because of it is a big target. And you typically go big targets in the red zone. Tight ends also just have those routes where they're able to find holes in zones and shit. Only Xavier Worthy 107. I had Xavier Worthy in every draft. I was so high on Xavier Worthy. People were talking about he's just a fast guy or blah, 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 or people who run that fast in the 40 typically don't end up well. I didn't find any of that. I didn't care about any of that. You missed me with that a little bit. I saw him at UT a lot. He was open a lot. He's more than just a fast guy. He runs complete route trees, not just running go routes or fade routes. He runs great horizontally, good, cross and slants and drag route guy. He's good on comebacks. He's good on out routes, especially in and outs, where he's going in and then cuts back out. I mean, he's so fast and so quick. DBs just have a hard time handling him, and with motion and the way offensive coordinators use speed, especially McDaniel with Hill. He's actually a red zone guy because of all the versatile things you can do with him in motion going horizontal. So we saw that a couple times with Kansas City. I feel like you'll see that a lot more. And the more you do that, it opens up to go in the fade route and the deep ball. And yeah, I saw him as Deshaun Jackson, especially if we used him in the return. I felt like really opened up a whole new avenue. And with the new kickoff rules, I was hoping that would maybe exploit a little bit more. The new kickoff rules really didn't do shit, honestly. But anywho, I don't want to keep going on that. Yeah, I like to say worthy. Wait, Brian Thomas. And that's kind of where I went, Bowers. The dude who had 104 had 105, 106, I mean. He needed a tight end. He was trying to go Neighbors and Bowers. And I knew if I took Bowers, he'd have to go wide receiver, and he wasn't going to go Worthy or Brian Thomas. I also knew the guy that needed that had 108 needed a quarterback. So I got everyone I wanted. Let's just put it that way. It would have been great to get Bailey Bruce at 105. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, there we go. Okay. I felt it. Excuse me. God bless me. I would have loved to get Neighbors at 105. Harrison, the only way Harrison's following me at 103. I mean, I guess someone could have taken Neighbors over him, but most people weren't taking Neighbors over Harrison. The only way Harrison was following me at 103 is if Daniels is gone, and if that was the case, then yeah, I would have won Harrison. If Neighbors had gone, I probably still would have taken Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury, Terry McLaurin. I liked Ben Sennett, Ryan Robinson. I guess they had John Dotson at the time, and you thought maybe John Dotson could get revived a little bit. But I absolutely loved Daniels in that situation. I really loved him with Cliff Kingsbury. I feel like Cliff Kingsbury do a lot more Daniels than he could do with Kyler Murray. And yeah, sure enough, Daniels had a fucking great rookie year. But yeah, regardless, I think I was going Daniels, even if Harrison was there, just to, backtrack, opportunity cost and, how things could have fallen. My board was pretty set, honestly. I came into this draft with fucking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks. All 10 of them are still on my team. I also, I think, picked up Tracy, picked up Bub Means, picked up a couple other people. But yeah, I got basically everything I wanted, where I wanted it. So I go Bowers 105, I go Worthy 107. I knew Brian Thomas Jr. was going to be there 109. It would have been nice maybe if May was there at 109, I might have had a little situation there. But I knew I really wanted Thomas. This dude goes Ladd at 110. I know people liked Ladd. I don't know if he would have taken Brian Thomas or Ladd at that point. And I did want to get Brooks. Once again, I'm a UT fan. I saw Brooks. Brooks was my running back 1, week 3. I mean, I didn't expect it. CJ Baxter, being a 5-star. I mean, he was a starting running back all offseason. I expected him to get most of the touches, but once Brooks got in there, man, it was over. I mean, he was fucking live. If he wasn't injured, he might have been a first-round draft pick, honestly. He was really fucking good. Hindsight's 2020. He ends up getting injured again. I'm just going to keep an IR. I mean, I'm really not completely upset about it. I am a little upset not taking Bo Nix. I liked Bo Nix' situation. I would have preferred to have taken Penix, but I knew Penix wasn't going to contribute early. My plan was to buy Penix with maybe one of those 2025 picks because I was going to like Penix more than I liked any of the 2025 quarterbacks. That's still the case. We'll see if I can get that done. Anywho, so Brian Thomas Jr. 109, John Brooks 111. I got 2 second-rounders. I got 209. I got that in trading 101. We got a first-round wide receiver, and Xavier Legette, who's in a situation where he basically could be wide receiver 1. Not a great situation, but Bryce Young's there, and they want to make it work. They want to, hopefully prove that they made the right decision, trading up from 109, from the 9th pick in the 2023 draft, and trading away DJ Moore and giving away what ended up being the first pick in the 2024 draft. Yeah, they absolutely have to go all in on Bryce Young. He ends up getting benched early on, deservingly so. But shows some progression and some growth later in the year. Xavier Legette dealing with the quarterback situation, flip-flopping between Andy Dalton or Bryce Young to Andy Dalton, back to Bryce Young, and other injuries. Hopefully he's the guy. We'll see. But it was okay. Would have wanted for more, but honestly, who I picked him over. I mean, I'm not taking Luke McCaffrey, Trey Franklin. I'm not taking Jermaine Burton. I'm not really even taking Jalen McMillan over him. Maybe that's my flaw, but yeah, I'm happy having Xavier Leggett, honestly. And I liked him in the draft. He borderline probably was like my wide receiver 6. I mean, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe wide receiver 7. Him and Cam Coleman were fighting for it. But due to his situation, and I probably picked him over Lad McConkey, honestly. That's a mistake, but they're about the same age. Leggett was like a year older because McConkey was like 23 as a rookie. I think Leggett was 24. Leggett didn't measure in at 6'3", like we had thought or maybe hoped. But still 40-inch vertical, ran a 4.3. He's 220 fucking pounds. He had the most big plays, I think, his last year at South Carolina. Most 20-yard plus plays. Extremely explosive. He was the guy at South Carolina too. Ran a variety of different routes, got a lot of usage, really showed that he could be a wide receiver 1 on a team. And, I believe he could be that for the Panthers. I still believe he can be that for the Panthers. Obviously, would have liked to have seen more, but his situation I feel like can only improve. And with that, he can only improve. So we probably saw his floor in his rookie year, in my opinion, but, whatever. I mean, if I have to bail, I'll bail. I'll pivot if I need to, but he had a better rookie year than QJ, but I compare him to QJ a little bit. Like Quentin Johnson had a pretty good year too. In all honesty, if he didn't get injured, I'm not sure Ladd has the year he does, because he was kind of neck and neck with Ladd on wide receiver 1 over there. Ladd maybe got more targets, but QJ got more red zone usage, was getting most of the touchdowns, and was still getting a lot of usage himself. I don't think that'll change next year. We might have saw Ladd's best year, honestly. But this isn't a Ladd video. I got Jalen Wright at 212. I was hoping he'd replace Mostert. I still have Mostert on my team at this point. And I felt like, he was Mostert insurance, but also I just wasn't sold on A-Chain, staying that efficient and everything. I mean, I'm saying that wrong. I suck at pronouncing names or enunciating or whatever. I just suck at talking, period. A-Chain, I don't want to butcher a lot of people's names. Just deal with that. It is what it is. But yeah, wasn't completely sold on him keeping that efficiency. I mean, he was basically at his ceiling as far as efficiency. He couldn't be more efficient. People were trying to say, look at him if he gets more touches. I'm like, if he gets more touches, he's going to see less. He ended up taking over running back 1, but was definitely less efficient as a whole, as that whole offense was, with Tua being injured. When Trey Franklin 301, I like his situation. I still like his situation. I still think he's going to grow. Him being, with his college quarterback and teammate. So yeah, definitely like that. Yeah, I'm expecting big year 2 stuff from him. I went Brandon Allen, 303, youngest guy in the NFL. Fantasy in the draft, yeah, and I liked him. I mean, I was a fan of him at Wisconsin. They changed their scheme, but I like Wisconsin running backs, honestly. John Taylor was a running back 1 for me a long time ago. Blah, blah, blah. Try to speed through this. And again, Audrey Gusman at 311. Ultimately, I got the 4 running backs I wanted. I really didn't want Benson or Corum, honestly. Lloyd, I was hit and miss on, but I was okay missing on Lloyd if I got Estime and Allen. And I got Tyrone Tracy with Fab immediately after the draft, basically, which was also another running back I wanted. I liked his story. He was a wide receiver for a large part of his career, transfers to Purdue, ends up going to a coach who wanted to recruit him as a running back initially out of high school, and he didn't want to do that. But, that dude's like, I think you're a running back. Well, he eventually decides to switch to running back and, transfers there, gets recruited as a transfer. Plays 1 year running back and does pretty good, but the fact that he spent so long as a receiver and has those receiving skills too to go along with it, being on a team like the Giants where I didn't think Singletary was solid in that role, I thought Tracy could easily take that role, and it would be a team that would be playing from behind a lot. And with his receiving skills, he could easily be a good 3rd down back and maybe possibly a 3 down back with heavy receiving usage. Wasn't wrong really on that too much, but We'll see if he keeps that role or improves on that role in a year or two. I do still have him. Estimate, likewise, I thought Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin were vulnerable. He came in supposedly as a starter, but got injured. Peyton kind of went back and forth on who the starter was, and it was definitely running back by committee. Some people had them taking a running back in the first round. I don't know about that, but anything can happen. Didn't they sign Ingram in free agency? I had them kind of going tight end in the first round with Tyler Warren. Maybe Tyler Warren dropped. I know a lot of people had Tyler Warren going higher than that, but maybe Ingram's there. I don't know. They could go running back in the first round. Anyways, that was my draft. So for the most part, I kept that team all season. I'm not a big trader. I don't do a lot of trades, but Jaden Daniels being game busters and everything, and then I started having injuries. Evans with the quad, and Allen was injured and really wasn't producing. And I'm like, man, I need help a wide receiver. I have Brian Thomas Jr., but Worthy's kind of hit and miss. He hadn't quite shown up. I think Jameson Williams had the injury and then had like something where he had a gun charge or something. He ended up not getting suspended. Nothing ended up happening to him, but there was possible chance for suspension there. So I was like, I got to get a receiver. So basically, do this trade. Do I have that? Am I supposed to be having multiple things here? I feel like that's the only trade I did in season. But yeah, I traded Jaden Daniels, my 27th second, my 27th third for Nico Collins, Spencer Rattler, and I got 227 firsts. That's a really good deal for Jaden Daniels. And much like was into the 2024 draft, I'm into the 2027 draft. If I did my Devy rankings, Jeremiah Smith, Arch Manning, Brian Williams would be amongst the highest. Nate Frazier, Isaiah Brown. Who's the other running back? There's another running back that's kind of going hard as a freshman. It's bothering me. But like a lot of the 27 people would be high up on those day rankings, and most of the good quarterbacks. I'm not sure Nico's going pro in 2026. He hasn't looked great as a quarterback. I feel like he needs more time to develop as a passer. Arch is not going pro in 2026. He's been patient. He's not in a rush to get money. He didn't need NIL. He's going to want 20-plus starts as a college quarterback. He could win the Heisman National Championship, and I still think he would come back. There's a better shot of him being in the 2028 draft than 2026 draft. That's where I'm at. I do think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to choke his first year, but I'm just not sold on him going pro after 1 year. I think he really wants to be good at UT. He wants to bring UT up, but I think he just really wants to prove himself, get as much experience as he can, and come out of college fully developed. He doesn't want to develop in the NFL. He wants to go to the NFL and, day one starter, Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow, Peyton Manning type shit, And the best way to do that is just, at least start 2 years, if not 3. He could. There's a better chance in the 2028 draft than the 2026. Then there's Austin Simmons. There's Dorian Mensah. There's John Mateer. Those would have been high value guys in the 2026 draft if they didn't transfer. Most quarterbacks don't do 1 year if they transfer. So I do think Dorian Mensah and John Mateer are going to stay 2 years in their new locations. Austin Simmons is not a transfer, but he's at Ole Miss, and he was a reclassification, I think. Him and Austin Mack, too, over there at Alabama, who transferred from Washington with DeBoer. This isn't what this video is. I'm going way too in deep in this, but honestly, I'm high on the 2027 class. There's TJ Moore, Brian Wesco, Ryan Wingo. The receivers alone are just fucking crazy. Nick Harbor very well might not go pro in 2026. He hasn't done really what you expected in college. So you could get an athletic freak like Nick Harbor possibly in 2027 too. There's other tight ends. There's other receivers who, it's just Yeah, 2027 is gonna be good, I believe. I already have 527 picks. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I was okay. Moving on from Daniels for that. Also, Daniels is kind of frail or thin. I felt like he was an injury risk, and he had just gotten over his injury or got a slight like little ankle or something. And yeah, I don't know. With Goff, with Geno Smith, and I was really thinking Fields would get the starting job with the Steelers again. I get them going to Russell Wilson, but I was like, yeah, they're gonna go back to Fields, right? They did not. But I really, I felt like I was also buying low on Nico. I mean, considering I got 227 first, and oh, I didn't believe about the names on this. Oh, yeah, fuck. I uploaded the wrong picture on this. Let's pause that. All right, my bad. I put people on blast on that. But yeah, it's a rookie mistake. I think I had a picture with it blocked out. I think I uploaded the wrong one. Anyways, eek. Um, so that was the only trade I really made in season. So this is the standings at the end of year 2. I barely made the playoffs. I was 7-6. But most points for. Most points for again. Same like Gamebusters. I obviously had to wait on Nico to come back. Mike Evans was injured. I mean, I made that move because I needed wide receiver help, but there's more for down the road. I had like I think a 3-game losing streak kind of right there before the playoffs started. And I had, 2 winnable games at the end of the year. I actually think someone could have knocked me out. One person kind of blew it. This third place team played me like week 12 or something. Probably couldn't knock me out of the playoffs. But he was trying to make it to where he wouldn't play me in the first round because he was about to lose his first round bye. So he kind of tanked and possibly let me in. I'm not sure if he could have done anything different. He still would have to start like damn near a perfect lineup, I think, to beat me, but he didn't know that going in. Anything could happen. But yeah, 20 minutes into this. Anyways, so that's how that season ended. This is the playoffs. And my team basically just goes gamebusters in the playoffs a little bit. I mean, 151 isn't a great score. I actually had the 3rd highest score. If I played anyone other than the dude I played, I would have been knocked out. So, whatever. But they reseed. I end up playing I guess the first seed, no one team. Just kill them. Just fucking kill them. And then in week 1 of this, I had 200 something points, I think, again. And in week 2, this dude fucking went for like 220. I almost lost this. I had like a 70-point lead going into week 2 because it's a 2-week championship, and this motherfucker's team went fucking hard as fuck. I was so nervous. I thought I was about to be second place 2 years in a row and then a winner take all. I was going to go home empty handed, but I ended up walking away with the G. Also got like a ring and a jersey. Got this ring to go along with it. Pretty tight. Look, the fucking bling just shines bright. It's a pretty cool league. I think it's like I got like $175 authentic jersey. End up getting Stroud from Houston. So, UT fan, Texans fan. Fuck the Cowboys, fuck the Titans. There's a lot of people in Dallas in this league too. There's a lot of Cowboys fans. Most of this league is Dallas. And then you get like a $7,500 ring, so it's not like it's definitely cubic zirconia or whatever. It's tight. It's cool. And then cool G. Just walk away with a nice G. You also got like 70 points, I think, or $70 for being most points. That was this year only. Last year I got nothing at all. We also started playing like high weeks this league. This league started doing a lot of stuff. So this is the end of season roster. Oh, this is how I look going into. I haven't made any trade. Oh well, Yeah, I traded 102. I had 102, and I traded 102 for two more 27 first. So, and I did a swap. I swapped mine with the dude I traded with too. So, I had two 27 first, and then kind of a swap deal where I felt like my pick would be better than his. So, I got an improved 2024, 2027 pick as well on top of it. And there you can see the 5 first. And I didn't bleep those names out either. Huh. Wasn't thinking. Good. My bad. No, that's not the one. So let's take that one off. Yeah, I had Bud Means and Jonathan Brooks on IR too. So like I only have one open roster spot, and that's an IR spot. That's what I'm talking about as far as filling your roster. And I leave them there for a minute. I don't need to fucking make anything happen until our rookie draft until August. So and the games don't start till August either. And you can still make trades and stuff with people in IR. You can't pick up free agents and shit, but there's really no reason to pick up free agents until after the rookie draft. Where I'm going to spend fab on undrafted rookies because we only have a 3-round draft. So there's going to be some undrafted dudes there. But yeah, we got Tyrone Tracy. We got Jalen Coker, another rookie. I basically got, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 when you count Brooks and Bud Means. And then the 3 taxi cab. 12 rookies still on my team that I'm happy to hold. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 12 rookies. I love my team. I'm excited about my team. Can't wait for next season. And now with Geno Smith being in Las Vegas and Justin Fields being possibly the Jets starting quarterback, my quarterback situation looks really good. And I still got 106 that I'm holding. Where I was going to try to trade for a quarterback. Wasn't going to draft a quarterback. I'm not really high on. I mean, there's a lot that still needs to be determined on that, but I was definitely targeting a running back now. Maybe Hampton if Hampton falls, Judkins if as long as no one takes Judkins out of me. I mean, I can kind of just pick whoever's situation I like. I'm pretty sure Genty's going 1. Now Tet may fall to me now the way things are going. I mean, I would have taken Tet at 102 probably. Shit, I might be able to take Ted at 106. And I was also looking at Hunter. Hunter's my wide receiver 1, but I have to see what the talk is about him playing wide receiver or not. I mean, if I'm able to get Hunter at 106 and he's actually playing wide receiver, fuck yeah. But yeah, I love my team. I'm super excited about my team. Can't fucking wait. That's how I dominated that league and came up and really did good. 2 Super Bowls, 1 win. Probably a Super Bowl favorite in year 3. Got tons of draft capital for 2027 or going forward that I can, use or spend as currency if I need to for in-season adjustments, or if something changes with the 2026 draft, where maybe I like what's going on there. There's always something I can do, just to throw a little bit more light on the 2027 draft. C.J. Baxter and Ruben Owens both might be in the 2027 draft. Missing all of last year with knee injuries, pretty much. And maybe not fully being, rehabbed or recouping, being 100% for this upcoming season. That they could be there too. Yeah. The 2027 draft. Get that as a team for it, but I think it could be on par with the 2024 draft, just personally. But yeah, that's it. That's gonna do it for this video. It's been long as fuck. I had like an hour and then I had to fucking change things, reshoot things so my camera died, and now we're at another half hour for really nothing. I have 1 trade. I did have the draft, but yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm going to do my other league right after this. Peace out.